Hi all and Happy New Year. It's Erin from EB Mixed Media and I'm doing something a little bit different today and I wanted to share with you, and I think I've shared it before, that I've always been a big planner. I started planning in 2017, 2018 because I was overwhelmed with my life, with my job, my kids, taking care of my parents, etc. And so I turned to Happy Planner. I started out with just a basic planner I got at Staples or something, but looked at bullet journaling and then got into Happy Planner. And for those of you that don't know it, this was my first Happy Planner journal, but Happy Planner is a journaling company. They often use these disc-bound systems so that you can pull pages out. This one is not a disc-bound, but it's a Happy Planner. And they sell all these sticker books, which can get pretty pricey, admittedly. But they do sell all these sticker books. So it makes it for a really quick and easy way to have some art in your life. Especially if you're not super creative or you don't have a lot of time. This allowed me to have a bit of a creative outlet. And so I loved the big planners. It gave me lots of room to write things down, etc. And add the stickers and just get kind of creative while also sort of organizing and planning my life. When I was first doing it, I also was interested in bullet journaling. And so I started kind of combining the two. So this was my word of the year here. When I was setting up my planner, this was a year at a glance, and then my goals for the year. I did this tracker. Look how obnoxious that is. That was one of my first ones. But you can see I was mad into the washi tape back in the day. And just kind of the fuller, the better, right? Here I had a little to-do thing that I stuck in there. So here you can see I was starting to kind of get into the paper craft stuff. I was doing that every week, making those. And this is a budget. Menu planners and trackers. So anyway, you can just see how, I just thought it was so much fun. And then gradually I got into art journaling, and I still kept doing the planner. But in the last few years, I've struggled with keeping up the planner as well as the art journaling. And so finally this year, I've decided to combine my love of mixed media and art journaling with my planners. And so I am starting to create my own journal. And I went ahead, or a planner rather, and I went ahead and adopted the same size pretty much as the Happy Planner. What's nice about this is it does lie flat. And so I've just sort of started on this one. This is my word for the year is today. I'm going to put my goals here. And then I'm going to do a year at a glance so I can really see the whole year here. Here I'm going to do a bucket list, and I'm going to put some kind of pocket here to capture receipts and things, I think, and just miscellaneous that I might want to hold on to. So that is sort of my year at a glance. And then I've started creating my January pages. So just put a tag here. This is a great stencil from Elizabeth St. Hillier, and I was kind of carrying her stencils that I just got for the holidays through here. So here are my goals for the year, or goals for the month rather. And I think I might change that to priorities, because I've got my goals. These are priorities that'll help me get to those goals. I've got a habit tracker. I found without a habit tracker, I don't do stuff. So, and then this is going to be my first week. So, and then I still have other weeks to do. And then back here, I'm going to have a master to-do list. And again, another pocket for things that I collect that are important or whatever. And these are some pages that I've saved because I was going to use those in the layout. So I'm experimenting with different kind of layouts. But anyway, so I thought today I would continue in this. And keep moving here with my year at a glance. So to begin with, I need to do the background. And this one I want to keep pretty light because I am going to be putting a whole calendar across. So there's no point in going to a lot of trouble on this page. But I'm going to use some pastels, which is what I did. I'm sort of carrying a theme through here. And let's see, I'm going to use my pastels. I'm going to use some water. I'm going to use my gesso. I've got a big brush here. And I'm going to get started. Okay, so the nice thing about kind of keeping with the color scheme is if I do mess up and color leaches through onto the other pages, it matches. So let's see here. I've got some clips, which I may need. And this paper is drawing paper, so it's a bit heavier, not quite mixed media paper, but has some heft to it. And if you're interested in this sort of thing, I will continue making videos about it. And I can, for the month of February, I can show you how I put this actual signature together. So the idea is there'll be 12 of these, and at some point and then 13 including this one, and then bind it together at the end of the year. Okay, so I think, like I said, I want to keep this really light, and so I think I'm going to pull the yellow through here and maybe just a tad of this sort of peachy pink. So let's see. I've got my pastels here, and let's put some water down, and I'm just going to try to keep it to the edges. And I'm just going to shave some of the pastel along the edges here. And I've got a jar of water. And it's very light, but that's nice. And I'm almost getting a dry brush technique with this. Get a little more water here. And you can see a little goes a long way. I'm getting a nice little bit of color here. And the pages buckle a little bit, but then they settle down once it dries. I don't know what I got on there, but it won't show up once you get everything on. I do want to get just a tiny bit of this peachy pinky color. Just a hint of it, I think, will be nice. A little more up here than anywhere else, it looks like, but that's okay. Oops. And we can go across the whole page if you just want a touch. Cool. Perfect. Let's dry that. And then in keeping with my theme with some of Elizabeth's stencils that are in this, these are her kind of Art Deco stencils. I have a few of those. I haven't used this one yet. But again, I don't want to use a ton. So I'm liking, I want to just kind of keep it in the corners here maybe. And I want to keep it super light. So I've got a piece of scrap paper here. I'm going to put some gesso down. And then I've got, let's see, I'm going to try just the barest amount of this orange sherbet. That's not the barest amount, but. And I have a cosmetic sponge here. I want to get just a, that actually seems like almost too much of the same color, but But I want it to be almost imperceptible, which I think this is going to be way too, well, maybe not. Am I on camera? Yes. And these stencils from Elizabeth are pretty delicate. It's easy to get kind of stuck up in the, get under some of the bits of it. All right, see how subtle that is? It really is barely showing. Can you even see it on the camera, I think? Yeah. All right, and then we'll go over here. So I gotta be honest, I'm not loving this at all. So I think I'm going to try some of this peachy pink instead. I mean, I have to look at these pages all year. It'd be different if it was just 1 month's worth. But I'll be referring to this a lot. So I really want to love it. That's super pink. I don't think I want it that pink. So this color is called Flamingo Coral, which I think is more what I'm trying to get. Let's try it. Yeah, it's a little bit darker than what I wanted, but I like it better. So I'm sticking with it. I think that's good. Moving on. The other thing I've been doing to add just a little bit more design or color or another element without being too distracting is to add some splatters. And so for this one, I'm going to add some splatters, but I'm going to do it in white. And that way it's just another element on the page. I'm going to try to keep it to the corners, but it's just adding a little something without it being, you know, too much. Whoops, that was too much. Yeah. All right, we'll dry that and we'll move on. Okay, just a quick update. It occurred to me because I was using pastels, I had to set them so that they wouldn't brush off. Pastels will reactivate, and they also just will come off on your fingers. So the way I did that on this page was I used some gesso. You could use clear gesso, you could use matte medium. I went ahead and used white gesso because, again, I felt like the stencil was too much. It was going to distract from what was going on this page. So I'm going to show you what I did. And this will act to set the pastel. Don't panic. So I just threw some gesso down. I'm going to get my brush wet, and I'm just creating kind of a wash that's going to push the design back and also set the pastel on the page. So I'm going over the whole page, right? And that'll keep any of it from coming off on your hands or reactivating if I were to put another medium down on top of this. Okay. Now, the way I want to do my year at a glance is like this. I didn't end up using this in the Happy Planner, but I've since realized I think it could be really effective, especially for you know, say you get a doctor's appointment, you know how you have to make them like a year out, and you put it down for November, and then you're looking at your year and thinking about planning a vacation, and you realize you have some appointments there. or you may have company coming, or you have a conference or something. Like I already know I have a conference in September. So it's a good idea to have it. So I wanted to do 12 columns on a 2-page spread, but when I started doing the math, the columns would only be about an inch wide, and it just didn't make sense. So what I did was I actually added another page, and that's the beauty of this style of journal, is you can add pages relatively easily. I didn't take the time to show you how I did that in this video because I just think it'll take too long. I promise you, if you're interested, in February, I will do this whole thing so you can see how it goes together. So I'm just going to do 6 months on this page, 6 months on this page, and then this still gives me a spot for my receipts and an envelope and a bucket list here. So that's my game plan, okay? I'm going to do 2.5-inch columns. The best way I could figure out to do this was to actually create a template. So I am going to just set this down and basically trace. Okay, so I figured out my spacing. This is turning into a huge chore. I'm not sure it's the smartest thing I've ever done. I maybe should have just printed these out, but it's 5/8 of an inch for each of these sections, and that gets you 31 on the page. So now I have to go back, I have to add it to all of these and do the same thing on this page. And yeah, go all the way across with my pen. Okay, was that a bit of a pain? Yes, but it wasn't horrible. It didn't take me too long. I got in a groove, and occasionally, you can see here, I drew a line straight through. Here, I realized the ink was getting on my ruler, and as I was pulling my ruler down the page, I was smudging, so I started to kind of clean off my ruler as I went. It wasn't horrible. And I do like how the design shows through, whereas if I'd done stickers, I would have covered up most of the page, and then what's the point? I have another page to go, and in the Happy Planner version, they also have this, and I think I kind of feel like I want to do a line there. To keep it even. So they have the day of the week plus the date. So so from my Happy Planner stickers, I actually have all the months of the year in sticker format. So I'm adding them now to my pages, or to my columns rather. February, let's see. As I was doing this, and my as I was going through writing all the numbers and everything, I was kind of trying to think of what's an easier way to do this. And I really wanted the paint and design to show through. And it occurred to me, what I could have done was painted some stickers. I could have done this same technique on some stickers and then printed on the stickers these columns from like an Excel spreadsheet. That might have been another good idea instead of, if you're not into doing this, because it was just tedious. It wasn't hard. It didn't take that long. Once I got the measurements right, it was just tedious. And then for just a finishing touch, I want to add down here, I've already kind of penciled it in, year at a glance. I didn't feel like I really had enough room at the top. I thought it would be too crunched. And I just do kind of a faux technique with my letters to make it look like I used a brush pen when I didn't. I've practiced. I can't seem to get the hang of it. I probably haven't tried hard enough. But basically you're just emphasizing the downstroke of your pen. I gotta tell you guys, I don't love this. I just think it's kind of sloppy. So I may be back to fix this with the sticker method. Hi guys, I'm back. I have really decided I don't like this and I don't want to look at it all year, and I don't think I'll use it if I hate looking at it. And so I have decided I'm going to try the sticker method, and I am going to paint on these, on the sticker, and then I am going to run it through my printer and cut out these columns, and it'll look, I think, a lot nicer, I hope. So I'm going to paint it first. Now, these sticker labels are not a fan of water. This is one huge sticker label, the whole thing. So they don't really like water, so I'm not going to do the technique that I did earlier to make these pages. I'm going to go ahead and use regular paint. And I've got a color here called Flamingo Coral that I think I'm going to try here. And I'm going to add some gesso as well to get a lot thinner. Not thinner, but rather a lighter color. I want it to be really light, but pretty, right? That looks good. I kind of like how I'm getting some streaks of the other color in there too, the darker. So I want to make sure that this is really super dry before I run it through my printer, and give it lots of time to dry. I'm going to go create the stickers on my computer in a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, and give it a print. That worked really well. I have it all printed out on my sticker labels that have been painted. And now I'm just going to cut this out, or cut it down to size. I was debating about making it one big sheet of label, but I decided to go ahead and cut out the 3 columns. I've got them all cut out now, and I'm going to go ahead and peel off the sticker backing and hope that I can do this. The nice thing about these labels too is they are heavy duty, so you can stick it on a box, you know, over something else, and what's beneath it won't show through. So that's handy for this, because I don't want what I've done to be showing through. And there we go. Wow, that blends in really well, actually. And here's February. Oops. Noticing I'm a little I'm liking that so much better. I just felt like this looked really sloppy and kind of dirty. So I'm gonna make some more labels and I'll be back to show you the finished product. Phew, that was a chore. I spent way too long on that, but I'm much happier with how it looks. Anyway, hopefully my errors helped you find a better way to do this if you do decide to go ahead and make your own journal planner. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy the planner stuff, and I will keep at it. In the meantime, you can always find me on Instagram. I'm at EB Mixed Media. That's EB_Mixed Media. Bye, all.